Hello students, welcome to Capman Academy, and today we are going to discuss about food safety standards and quality management, right? Because we had already discussed about different type of foods, how they are being manufactured in the food industries, how they are being processed, and how they are being packaged before going to the consumers, right? So before going to the consumers, these all type of the techniques or the methods for manufacturing, processing and packaging of the food products is being cross checked by different type of the laws or national and international agencies. So today we are going to discuss about these type of the law making agencies which actually checks the different type of food products whether they are good to consume or not, right? So major purpose of the food safety standard and quality management here is the food safety, to protect the consumers from any type of the hazardous chemicals, any type of the hygiene problem, any type of the expiration date problem, or any type of the microbial contamination, so that consumer health does not get affected by any type of the toxic food. There are some type of the laws which are actually present in the market. That is why when you go into the market and you see different type of the packets, you see there are so many labels present in the food packets, right? So these labels actually check or tells you the quality of your food product. You can say by seeing these labels that how much quality of your food products actually contains, and to send them into the market, these food industrialist has to get a food safety certification or a proper license from the government. Nobody can sell any type of the food product randomly in the market, right? They should have proper license for that. So to make that sure that consumers does not get affected by any type of the food adulteration or toxic materials, there are different type of the laws made by the different governments, and it depends according to the countries to the country, right? So first thing is the food quality, how you will measure the food quality, right? So mostly there are some important factors which actually tells about the food quality, and number one is the appearance of the food. Number one is the appearance of the food. And how you actually check your food appearance? By its color, its size, its shape, etc. So by seeing all these type of the parameters, you can tell how is the food quality in the market, right? And this all is depends on the optical properties, because you are seeing all these parameters by your eyes. So this one is the important factor. And then there is the another parameter which is called flavor, right? Second parameter or factor is called flavor. So to take test the flavor, you have to taste different type of the food products, because this type of the factor is perceived by the tongue, right? And with the flavor you can also smell different type of the food products. So if you feel there is some undesired type of the odor present in the food products or undesired type of the flavor present in the food products, you can reject them. So this is also depends on your olfactory center of the body or the nose, olfactory center of the nose, right? So this is the another factor which you can visualize, and you can identify your proper quality of the food products. Then next factor which comes, which is called texture, texture of your food products, that you can say by your tactile senses to the physical stimuli. By the physical stimuli you can say that these products are actually good for your consumption. So this is the another factor which actually assures the food quality present in the market. Then there is another factor which does not actually comes into the exact quality factor, but it can be considered, and it actually affect the cost and convenience convenience of the food products. And this factor is called nutritional value. This product is called nutritional value. But you cannot, by seeing and by checking the odor and flavor, or by seeing the texture of the food, you cannot tell how much nutritional value a particular food product contain. So to do that, you have to depend on other type of the people. So these peoples are actually, they make the, or they define the nutritional value of different type of the food. How much concentration should a person consume a particular type of the food product. So that is why in all type of the food products, in the packaging, there are always the label which tells you about the nutritional value of that particular type of the food. So these are some important factors which are actually present on the packaged food, right? So now let's see what type of the food laws are actually present in the market, right? So number one food law is called Food Safety and Standard Act. So from this chapter, what type of questions can be asked in the GATE exam? They can ask you to define the laws, right? To define or to abbreviate the laws. For example, FSSAI, what it stands for. So in this one, you have to take notes when I am going to teach you about different type of laws, what are their short terms and how you can expand them. So our first law is called Food Safety and Standard Act, which comes in 2006, and it is majorly comes for the safety of consumers, to protect the health of the consumers, right? So our first law is called Food Safety and Standard Act, right? And this one is come in 2006, and this one is also called FSSAI, right? So its full form is, because we are talking about the national agencies in India, so this one is called Food Safety and Standard, FSS, in Authority of India, Authority of India, right? So when the exam, if they gives you the options of Food Standard and Safety, and Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, which means they are talking about the FSSAI. So this is the particular type of the law to which you have to get a license for your particular type of the food, and this one work for international and national traders, right? So everyone should have this type of the license to make sure that their food product is in good quality. And what are the silent feature of these law? These are, number one, the movement from multi-level, the movement from multi-level and multi-department, multi-level and multi-department control to a single line of command, right? Second feature of the FSSAI Act is, number one, as a single reference point, as a single reference point, it can control all matters. It can control all matters related to food safety and standard. food safety and standards, their regulations and their trade. So single FSSAI Act can control all type of matters related to the food safety and its quality, right? Next feature is integrated response to strategic issues. Integrated response to strategic issues like novel foods, health foods, and nutraceuticals. So all these type of the food products can be controlled by a one major body which is called FSSAI. Fourth one is called adequate information and dissemination on food. Adequate information on food to enable customers or consumers to make informed choices. This is actually done for the consumer's health, so that consumers can choose any type of the food products according to their need. They don't have to take anything which is undesired for them. Next feature of this law is fifth one, compounding and adjudication cases. Compounding and adjudication of different type of cases, like and it is done to reduce the court's workload. So this national agency also controls the any type of the cases related to the food products, right? Sixth one feature of the FSSAI, it actually can give the graded penalty to the manufacturers if they are doing any type of the adulteration in the food, or they are doing some any type of the illegal activity in their manufacturing units, then they can give them any type of the penalty, right? It depends on the gravity of the offenses, how many laws they had been breaking. Next feature of this agency is adequate representation of government. Adequate representation of government, industry organization, what type of the organizations are actually in contact with the manufacturing industries, then what type of the consumers are actually in contact with them, farmers and technical expert and retailers, right? Next feature of this law is it actually helps in the enforcement of the legislation by the next one is the enforcement of the legislation by the state government and UTs through the State Commissioner for Food Safety, State Commissioner for Food Safety and his officers. Right? So these are some important features which this type of laws contain. Right? This one is the very important law because it also controls the international trading of any type of the food product. Right? So this, any food industrialist who is actually trying to trying to manufacture any type of particular type of the novel food product, or it is trying to do the processing of the food products, they has to get these type of the license, so they can actually help in the better food product quality. Right? Then what are the provisions in the act? What type of the provisions are actually present in this act? So number one provision, actually it covers the health food, it covers the supplements and nutraceutical companies, nutraceutical food products. Right? Second provision is it also issues the license within a time frame of 2 months. Right? Third task of this law is it also gives the provision of notice by designated officers. Right? Fourth provision is prosecution. If to be launched, should be within 1 year time frame. Prosecution within 1 year time frame. Right? Next thing is also it provides the provision special courts for the summary trials. Special courts for summary trials. Right? Next thing is the sixth one provision, which is actually it also helps the victims to get compensation from the industries. Compensation from the respective companies which is manufacturing the faulty food products. Right? Then seventh provision is it reward to the informer. It also gives the reward to informer. If something is going on illegal in any type of the food industry and somebody informs the government about that, then government gives the reward to that informer. Right? Eighth provision is one composite license for units. One composite license for units falling under same or one area. Right? One license is enough if there are same or similar area are actually covered in the manufacturing companies. So this one is the first law which is actually given by the national agencies. Next law is called, second one law is called standard of weights and measure acts. And this law is given in 1976 by the suggestions of General Conference, of weights and measures, which is called CGPM, and international organization international organization international organization of legal metrology. This one is called OIML, right? And this law is given in 1976, and actually this law is being replaced or already updated by the comprehensive legislation, and it was done in the 1956. Already this one is being updated in 1956. So by time to time all type of the laws are being updated by the governments, right? And the salient feature of these law is number 1, establishment of weights and measures based on SI units. On their labels there should be SI units which will tell particular food products contain how much type of the or how much weight of the food product, right? And this one is adopted by the CGPM and OIML, right? Second feature of this law is provide to prescribe specification of measuring instruments, right? It provides the prescribe specification of measuring instruments, right? Then third feature of this law is regulation of pre-packed commodities. Regulations of, it also controls the pre-packed commodities sold, which are going to be sold or intended to be sold, right? Interstate or in the commerce region. Then fourth feature of this law is approval of models of weight. Approval of models of weight and measures, right? Then fifth one is the inspection of the weighing and measuring. According to these law, any type of the food inspector can inspect the weighing and measuring instruments during their use, right? To prevent the fraudulent practices. Then sixth one is the control and regulation of export and import of particular specified weight and measures of the commodities, right? Seventh one is the powers of the inspector to search, powers of inspectors to search, seize and forfeiture of non-standard standard weight or measures. So they can stop the food industries if they are doing any type of illegal industries or they are not following these type of the laws. Then they can search their companies, seize the companies and fortitude that, right? So these are some important features of the Standard of Weight and Measures Act, which has been given in 1976. Another important act is called number 3, Essential Commodities Act. Essential Commodities Act, right? This was actually given in 1955 and this was mostly to identify or to differentiate the essential and non-essential commodities. Non-essential commodities, what are the important food products and what are the non-important food products. So to protect, and why they are given actually to protect the consumers from any type of the exploitation by different fraudulers, right? The traders which actually doing the trading illegally. To protect the consumers from these type of people, these type of the act are actually given for the consumers, right? So and this act is also prevent the black marketing and black marketing and maintenance of supplies of essential commodities. Maintenance and supplies of essential commodities. So the people who have only the valid license for the essential commodities can only sell essential food products, right? Nobody in the black market or the maintenance can sell the food products randomly in the market. So to do that, there is a law which is called Prevention of the Black Marketing and Maintenance of the Supply of Essential Product, and this one is come in the 1980, right? And the Essential Commodity Act, how they are actually defined, what type of commodities are actually important and what are these. So there are some list of the commodities which comes under the Essential Commodities Act. Number 1 is called cattle fodder. Cattle fodder including oil cakes, and other concentrate, animal feed, right? Second thing is coal including coke and other derivatives, coal. Third thing is the component part and accessories of automobile, component parts and accessories of automobiles. Fourth thing is the cotton and woolen textiles, cotton and woolen textile, right? Fifth essential commodity is drugs, the medicines. Sixth one is the food stuff, right, including edible oil, seed and any type of the food product. Then seventh one is the iron and steel, including manufactured products of the iron and steels. Then eighth one is the paper, including the newsprint, paperboard and straw board. Ninth one is the petroleum and petroleum products, right? 10th one essential commodity is raw jute, and 11th one is the raw cotton. And 12th one is the any other class of the commodity. 12th, other commodity class of commodity which the central government by notified order declares to be essential. The central government which will actually tells the people this one is the essential commodity that comes under this act, Essential Commodity Act. So other than these act, FSSAI, Standard Weight and Measures, and the Essential Act, there are some other voluntary laws or the regulatory laws which are actually present, and those are actually given to the specified food industries or the industries which make specified type of the food products. These laws are called voluntary because the industry to make sure or to become the very to make sure that consumers trust them, they get voluntary license from other type of the agencies too, right? So from these other type of the regulatory and voluntary laws, number one is called milk and milk product milk and milk products order. This one comes in 1992 and it covers all the dairy products which are being produced from the dairy industry, right? Second one voluntary law is edible oils packaging. Edible oils packaging, right? This one is given in 1998. Then third one is the vegetable oil products. Vegetable oil products regulation order. This one is also given in 1998. Then fourth one is your solvent extracted oils. Solvent extracted oils. De-oiled meal. De-oiled meal or edible flour control order, which is given in 1967. Then next one is the fifth one, which is called meat food products. Meat food products order, right, for the production of different type of meat products, and it is covered into the 1973. Then sixth one is called Environment Protection Act. Environment Protection Act. This one is given in 1986. Then seventh one is the Export Inspection Council of India. The Export Inspection Council of India, which is also called EIC. And eighth one is Agricultural and Processed Food Product. Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority. Export Development Authority. This is also called APEDA, right? And then next one is your Marine Product Export Development Authority. Marine Product Export Development Authority. This was given in 1972, right? So this one is actually given for all type of the fisheries industries, all kind of the fisheries industries which actually work on the marine products. So these are the voluntary laws. If the industries they want, they can get the specified license for their particular type of the industries. Otherwise, if they has FSSAI license, it actually work for any type of the food product. National agency, this one is the number one to to make the confirmation for the consumers, to make them that this food product is proper, so that the food industries can take these type of the voluntary law license too, right? So that's all for the today. I hope आपको सब कुछ समझ में आ गया होगा. Thank you.